Welcome to Tai Chi. Everybody ready? Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, so just don't bob it up and down. Stretch it out as far as you can by pointing your chin out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. Interlock those fingers, but turn only at the hips and waist. Don't use your arms for leverage. Keep the arms closer to your head as you force your hips and waist to peek at the heel of the opposite foot. 8, 9, 10. Airplane. 1, 2, 3. Use your hips and waist and move them. 5, 6, bend. 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. Arch your back. Arch it again. 2, 3, 4. Go down with gravity. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight to the left foot. Good Tai Chi posture. Head straight up. Down 10 points all lined up. Kick your right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2. Shift your weight clearly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman, opening up our span, parallel feet, choose the right side, cross and sit on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shift weight, cross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good golden cockerel. Remember to create spirals with your both hands. Remembering to rotate on your axle as you favor one side. Be sure that your counterbalance hand is pushing down at the same time the other one is bringing it up. Just be aware, focus, okay? Focus on your danten point, okay? Opening up our span, shifting weight to the left. Here we go, golden cockerel. Push down, bring up. Make sure that the front hand is centering your body. The same amount of distance that you pull up is the same amount of distance you push down at the same time. Okay, synchronize your movements. Last set. Okay, kicking out. Semicircle, gather the energy, put it all on the left foot as your right hand is on the outside, right foot coming up, kick out right. Follow with your eyes, follow with your hands. Semicircle it, center it, follow it, left, left. Shoulders are never raised, even when you kick out. Think about that one. Never raised. Last set. Tuck the elbows in as you center yourself, then disperse that energy. Holding our ball on a T stance. Show me that you have energy stored. Root down, T stance, L stance, round the crotch, bow stance. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary stool. Twist step, root down, T stance, hold your ball, out and to the side. Move the energy, then flatten down as you finish your parting of the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T and ball, L, move the energy. Then flatten your foot down as you make that rounding of the corner. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T stance, out and to the side, L stance, O stance. While we're doing this, ask yourself, are your hands moving because your core and your mind is telling it to move? Or is it merely just moving alone? If it's just moving alone, you're not doing Tai Chi. Something that's in your core is directing along with your mind. Okay? Brush knee, set it up correctly. 3 things happen. What are they? Leave the hands there, power of the core, power of the mind, power of the hips and waist. Make that brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, set it up correctly, all together. There's your magic. So I am trying to prepare you for our lesson, which is heavily based on if your hands are set up correctly, the strength of your waist and hips allow your hands to go right where they want to, as long as you power your motion with your hips and your waist. Okay, this one's going to be a little different, so you're going to listen now, okay? Twist step. Set it up correctly, T stance. I want you to leave your hand once we are multitask, and I want you to just move it with your hips. L, move your hips, move your waist. All right, this one's going to be a little bit different. This time, you're not going to use your hips and waist. You're going to set it up, and you're just going to turn your hands and turn the other hand, and there you are. If you're like me and you did it wrong, your knee has some stress. Let's do it wrong again. We're taking away our hips and waist. We're making this a hand motion. 3 things happen. Ear, hand, heel. Use your hand to make that rotation. The knee should be very stressed. One more time. Set it up correctly. Multitask. Use your hands to turn that hips and waist. Okay? Put your hands down. Look at me. What's happened? My hips want to go this way, but my hand is this way. I need to turn my hips and waist. So that's the power of the hips and waist. Maybe was not as obvious, but here it is. We said we want to use our hips and waist to move our hands. We set it up. We multi, and we use our hands. We didn't use our hips and waist. It's not good Tai Chi. It's horrible, okay? Why is it horrible? I set my hands up. I take an L stance. Everything goes together, setting it up. Multi. Turn my hips and waist. Right? Big difference. Watch again. Set it up. Multitask. Leave my hand there. Turn my hips and waist. I turned it way too much. But what is directing my movement? My hips and my waist, right? Okay, so here we go. 2 or 3 times. Facing the clock wall, setting it up correctly. Step out on an L, multitask. Turn the hips and waist, leave the hands there. Set it up correctly again. Multi. Turn the hips and waist, do not move your hands. Now let me look at you. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Now look at your own feet and you tell me if it's that perfect. Uh-oh, what happened? Drag your foot back from the forward foot, drag it back. Is that where you want it? Fine if it is, but not fine if it's not supposed to be there. Okay, why isn't it supposed to be here? So watch what I'm going to do. This is what I asked you to do, and I asked you to turn the hips and waist, and you all faced me because you somehow used your hips and waist to power the hands that went for the ride. Now I'm looking at another element. When you ended, some of you had this spacing. I don't know how you did it and can continue to do it because it hurts your knee. It's impacting your joints of your knee. So why is this wrong? If I drag my front foot back, I hit my back foot. We know that we can't do that because we need that space in which to turn our hips and waist and turn our knees. So although some of you had the clearance I'm looking for, perhaps you can work on making it a little bit bigger, making that span a little bit bigger. for those of you who really clash, and I saw students who clash, they need to step out a little bit more. Okay. Ken's right, but what did he say? He said that when we take an L stance and then a bow stance, the hips and waist have to fully turn. They cannot stay here. They have to turn fully, okay? So that was just without hands, but could you see that if I set this up correctly and I only turn partially, hey, this is going to be a hand motion, right? But if I set it up correctly and I turn my hips and waist, the hands get there, I'm square to my front foot, okay? How many are following me and sort of understand, just out of curiosity? Yeah, so intake is important, but then you have to apply that. All right, so this is what today's lesson's going to be covering.
The way to avoid stepping forward is, again, you establish your substantial foot, and you have to be in a position where you're relatively stable. So if you happen to be here, you can put your foot any place you want to be, okay? If you're here, but if you just switch out and you all of a sudden go down, you haven't established this, and you're going to the next. And unless you're pretty good, you're not going to flip out over here. To get the time to flip out, you have to, you come from this position here, set, and then lift up the foot, and then decide where you're going to put it. But if you too quickly don't establish where you're at, and you know you got to be out here ultimately, you could be in the wrong place, and a lot of times the wrong place is the nearest place, because you don't have to spend that much time before you're going to be in imbalance. Versus if you wanted to be out here, you have to be able to have that fraction of a second to get the foot where you want it to be. So think about, before you move out, you say foot down, stuck to the ground, then you move, okay?
Okay, so clarification, then you move, but you know that move is only on the heel. Okay, so let me kind of clarify. So the reason why you want to store the energy on the back foot is because you want to create an optimal gravitational position. You're grounded, so you're safe. So only the weightless foot or insubstantial foot can then move. Like he said, any old place or anywhere you choose, because this is grounded. You're grounded on the back. You're grounded with gravity as well as storing that energy. When you put your L stance out here, your foot out into the side, the energy is still stored on the back foot. It cannot just all of a sudden go here and then decide, oh, she said hips and waist. Okay, so that's another error. You store your energy on the back foot. You set it up with the L stance. The energy's still here. If you came here, you should be able to lift my foot because the energy is still here, okay? The energy has to gravitate from the sole of your feet to your ankles, to your leg, to your knee, your thighs, your hips, your waist, your chest, your shoulder, and then down. It cannot decide, oh, it's at my sole, I need to plop it down and go here. Cannot do that. It has to grow within your system, not just stop here and then decide to go there. It has to grow through here, then come down. Okay? So this bears on Tai Chi Walk. It bears on everything that we're going to learn in Yang 16 and Yang 24, but very different from the 10 forms. So we got to lay that platform and make sure we do it correctly. All right, I'm going to move you into Tai Chi Walk now, okay? Because I think that you need many examples in which to apply what you understand or saw clearly, okay? But your job is to listen to the call and try to make that energy from the back foot move with you in an L stance, but through the system and not shortcut it, okay? And I'm not saying it's for beauty, but it's for safety of yourselves, okay? Safety of your joints, all right? So you're gonna come forward, you're not gonna cross the line, and you're going to plant yourself on a line that you normally are used to, and we're gonna come back to that line, okay? So kind of know where you are. So we're going to do Tai Chi walk forward, we're gonna turn around, and we're gonna go back home. And that will tell you whether, you know, something needs to be adjusted, okay? And I remember that you did a really good job last week. And the job was that Tai Chi walk has patterns. You zigzag, you do a straightaway, you do a zigzag, you do a straightaway, you do a zigzag, straightaway, zigzag, straightaway. But remember now, in between that, you have to sit back, sit down. Store that energy. Make this really insubstantial so that you can zigzag again. Zigzag. Shift your weight. Straight away. Energy still here, coming through the system. Mind says it's okay because now it's a straightaway. All right, so this is what we're going to practice. This time our hands are at our waist. Okay, you're on. Wherever you are, you know where home base is, okay? Good Tai Chi posture. You're dropping the shoulders in spite of the hands being at the waist. Okay, so put your shoulders up. That's wrong. Drop them down. This is Tai Chi posture. Here we go. Pivot with your right heel, zigzag. Firm down or weight down. Insubstantial foot is a straightaway or L stance. Energy grows from the sole of your foot up through the system, up through your shoulder, planted down, bow stance. We have to sit back, we have to sit down, we have to zigzag. The hips have to follow that zigzag foot. We're on an L. We're gonna move the energy and turn our hips and waist, go down. Bow stance. Straight away, sit back, sit down, zigzag out, firm down, L, straight away, turn your hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out, shift your weight, firm down, L, turn the hips and waist, move that energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out, walk in that direction, L stance, turn the hips and waist, flatten down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag, firm down, L, move that energy all across your system, come down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, and keep your stance. Okay, keep your stance. Okay, so you're on a sit back, sit down now. Sit back, sit down. Okay, so sit back, sit down. That the right foot should be on a straightaway, okay? So self-correct. The right foot should be on a straightaway. And you're sitting back and sitting down. How do you do that? But the heel of that front foot has to be on its heel now, okay? Has to be on the heel, and you have to show me that you're lowering yourself. That is a sit back, sit down. All right. You're gonna stand up, and you're gonna turn towards the street. Keep that same position. We're gonna walk back home. Easy, walk back home. All right, here we go. Good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders, hands on your waist. Pivot with your right foot, walk in that direction. Shift your weight there, keep it on the right. Step out on an L. Move the hips and waist, turn, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out, walk in that direction, heel out on a straightaway, turn the hips and waist, flatten down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out, shift your weight, heel out on an L, turn the hips and waist, flatten down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out with that left foot, heel on a straightaway of the right, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out with that right foot, shift your weight, left heel, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. One more, sit back, sit down, pivot, zigzag, shift your weight, set out your right heel, L, turn the hips and waist, bow. Sit back, sit down. All right, take your hands down and turn around and look at me. So more or less you got it, okay? I won't say it's perfect. Yeah, I know. So that's okay. We have a good start, okay? But just know that everybody needs to brush it up a little bit more. Some of you are good in that you turn your hips and waists. Others need a little bit work on the hips and waists. If you'd be very, very happy with Tai Chi if you can turn your hips and waists a little bit more. The only way to get it done a little bit more is to actually pump it, do it, keep on doing it. In our exercise, in your activities, if something's here and you need to move here, turn the hips and waists. Don't just go with your hands. Turn the hips and waists. That's a better, safer stance than just using your upper body, okay? So a lot of little things that we have to address, and one of the things is lifting our foot. So it's not just putting it here, but it's grounding down. This foot can do anything it wants to do, including going up. It has to lift and then come down, okay? And remember, this is the class where I said I didn't know how a cat walked. The cat lifts and then he slips down, okay? So that's another component. So just think about if you dragged your foot all the time. Hey, is that going to be insubstantial enough to make you safe? Probably not. But if you clearly know that you can lift and then advance, that's way better than shuffling, okay?